Welcome to SheCan. You are the Center Director at Welbeck Cambridge, which is a leader in healthcare operations. You have various clinics all around England. You are going to open the Welbeck Cambridge in 2026, a center that will revolutionize the quality of private healthcare in the UK outside of London. Tell us a bit more about your journey and the pivotal points that got you to where you are today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's delightful speaking to you. So, as you said, I'm Natasha. I have recently been appointed as the Centre Director for Welbeck Cambridge. It's actually going to be one of our first regional centres outside of London. So, a huge opportunity for myself, for my career, and a huge milestone for Welbeck. A little bit about me. I'm actually a respiratory physiologist by background, clinically trained. I did a lot of my training at Imperial College in London. And actually, that's where I made a lot of my connections. That's where I built my network of people. And I think that was probably how I got to where I am today by forging those relationships. After that, I moved to my local NHS trust, which was the Norfolk and Norwich Hospital, where I continued to work clinically. I got to the point where I felt like I could do more. I wanted to be a part of change. I wanted to impact patients and their journey, and I didn't feel that I could quite do that in my position. So when I was approached by one of the clinicians who I previously worked with at Imperial, and they said, "Look, Natasha, we're in the process of building this new, really exciting private facility in London. We are looking at defying patient pathways. Would you be interested in coming on board and setting up the patient pathway, setting up the speciality? You'll have the ability to build your own team, procure your own equipment, really be involved from the ground up." And I said yes. And that was a big step for me. I was living in Norfolk. It would have meant a humongous commute, 2 hours into London, 2 hours out. And if I hadn't have said yes on that day when I got that phone call, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I think that's probably going to be the theme of our conversation, is seizing the opportunities when they get presented to you. So that was the pivotal point in my career, I think, at that point when I said yes to taking on that. It was a huge challenge. It was a huge career step. So I think that was the pivotal point in my career when I said yes to that opportunity. It was probably the most challenging, most stressful, most rewarding time of my career. And over the time in Welbeck, I then continued to say yes. I continued to seize opportunities. I continued to take on more opportunities and more responsibilities. So I then, over time, took over our Welbeck Heart Health Centre, which worked really well with the respiratory centre. I then also decided that I still wasn't busy enough, so was presented with the opportunity to help operationalise and set up our health assessment and longevity centre, which looked at executive screening packages, which utilised all the specialities that we've got within Welbeck London to put together some really bespoke healthcare offerings to our patients, which wasn't really done elsewhere. It was done elsewhere, but not in the way that Welbeck wanted to offer. It was bespoke, it was high end, it had a nice feel to it, it was luxurious. And I built that to the point in which it needed someone working on it full time. So I was then able to hand that over. And I look back at it now, and we've helped a lot of patients. We've saved a lot of lives because we've found things they may not have necessarily found if they hadn't have found us. And then I moved into a divisional director role, which I said yes to that opportunity because I needed to diversify my skill set. I knew my end goal was always to be the overall leader, the hospital director, to manage it all. And I knew I had a gap in my experience that I needed to become a little bit more in tune with business development, commercial strategy. So that's what I did for a couple of years. I looked after our women's health centre. I supported our centre director, mentored as many people as I could. And when I got presented with the opportunity to be the centre director for Cambridge, I then felt with my previous background and my career to date that I had done what I could to try and prepare myself as best as possible to step up into that role.
Natasha, so do you feel because you've held all these different positions and actually you come from a clinical background, that helped you to now step into this, massive opportunity to lead a whole new location for Welbeck to open in Cambridge, which is, historically an important place in the UK for scientific discoveries. And, it's a real historical place for excellence and that must transpire, I'm sure, in opening in that location. Natasha, so I'm just wondering, what do you feel are sort of your main learnings that really equipped you to be able to say yes to this opportunity, to believe in yourself, to be able to do it, to go for it? What are those lessons learned that give you what you need?
I think my biggest lessons learned was probably trying to get the balance right, the balance of demands of a really challenging but rewarding healthcare system, a really now established private healthcare facility. I think my experience in immersing myself in those varying specialities has definitely given me the experience and now the knowledge to really lead from the front, really be involved in delivering what it is that we need in Welbeck Cambridge, supporting our clinicians, supporting our staff. So I think, yes, saying yes to all of those opportunities in Welbeck Cambridge, immersing myself in those specialities, diversifying my skill set, leaning on the other leaders, leaning on the other all the other teams that we have in Welbeck, putting myself out of my comfort zone and doing things that felt uncomfortable. Finance, oh, I don't like it, but I had to learn it and I had to get good at it. So I think, yes, my career to date, especially within Welbeck, has definitely prepared me for this role, and has definitely given me the skills and experience that I need to be able to excel.
Natasha, so what will success look like?
Success would look like that we open Welbeck Cambridge. Reputationally, it's the place to go. Reputationally, patients come and they have a fantastic experience. They tell their friends, they tell their family, go to Welbeck Cambridge. It is the place to go. Not just patients, but staff, that they enjoy coming to work. They get up every day because they want to come to work. They're here because they want to make a difference. Success is all of that. Success is that the business does well. We are able to provide patients with the access to care that they need and deserve. It's being the place that people can come to get answers, to get access to those diagnostic tests, those surgeries, the ability to have the conversations that they've been needing and haven't been able to have with a clinician for a long time because we're prevented by, unfortunately, waiting lists and blockers in the road that prevent patients from being able to get the care that they really truly deserve.
Natasha, so talk to us a little bit more about those differences. What services and what things can one expect from a Welbeck that is just, at the forefront of healthcare?
So I think healthcare is under a huge pressure right now, especially within the NHS. There's
Yeah,
capacity challenges, there's workforce shortages, there's a raising demand for patients who are waiting longer. And
yeah.
I think our clinicians are now stretched thinner than ever. Um, I think that creates a real opportunity for the independent and private sector.
Mm.
And I think we now play a bigger role in supporting both patients and the system as a whole. So I think we've got an opportunity in the private market, specifically Welbeck and our new regional centres, that we have a chance to design our services differently. And I think that's what is going to set us aside from our competitors and any other private hospital that maybe somebody else has been to before. We put our patient experience in the centre of everything that we do. We are innovating with digital tools, and we try to create pathways that feel seamless, efficient, bespoke to the patient. And I think that we've now got the flexibility in the private sector where we have the ability to move faster. We've got the opportunity to pilot new models of care. And the Welbeck model actually allows us to bring clinicians in to the design process. We bring them in from the very start of the whole journey. And I think that makes Welbeck feel very collaborative, and it feels very empowering. As the centre director, I feel very empowered to deliver what the clinicians have been wanting, what patients need. And I think there's a real opportunity here to bring the two together, the independent, the private, and the NHS together by complementing each other, by easing the stress that the NHS is clearly under, and also raising the bar for what private healthcare should look like in terms of quality, safety, and overall patient experience.
Yeah, amazing, Natasha. What would you say are your sort of tips for people who find themselves just like you in a really high-pressured environment where people expect a lot from you now?
So I'd say the best advice that I would give to anybody, and maybe even younger leaders who are aspiring to be the next clinical service director, operations director, even hospital director, I think my advice would be to stay curious and stay open. You don't always have to have the answers from day one. And I think all you need to do is you need to listen, you need to learn, and you need to ask the right questions. And I think, as I said in my introduction, some of my biggest career leaps have simply come from saying yes. Yes to the opportunities that stretched me, and yes to taking on those extra responsibilities. Yes to the opportunities that others may have taken a step back from because it felt uncomfortable at the time. But I think those are the opportunities that probably shape you the most. And I'd also stress the importance of investing in your relationships. I spent a quite short time actually at Imperial, but I invested in those networking opportunities. I invested in those people. And I think that's where I've got to today. That's where I made my biggest impact. And people remembered me by that and reached out to me and said, yeah, I remember her. She would be great at this job. And I think leadership isn't just about delivering outcomes. I think it's about building that trust. And when you take the time out to connect with people, understanding the different challenges, bring people on the journey with you. And I think you also get so much back in return. And actually, leadership, career development, career progression, there is somewhat a long game here. It's less about chasing those quick wins, but more about building the right environment, connecting with the right people, ensuring that you support the right people, you try and motivate people, and allow people to thrive when you give them the opportunity. And I think if you, as a leader, if I can give any advice, if you can do all of that, then I'm sure the opportunities and the results and the rewards will follow naturally after that.
Yeah, amazing. You've answered so many questions with this one, because the next question would have been, what kind of a leader are you? How do you show up? How do you lead so that your big vision and Welbeck's vision becomes a reality?
What kind of leader am I? I think, in honesty, my leadership style has probably changed over time as I've learnt to become a leader over time. When I first started at Welbeck, it was honestly my first managerial people leadership role. It probably has changed over the last 5.5 years, but I probably describe myself as very collaborative and very people focused. And as I said before, I believe the best results come from people when you create that environment that your people, your staff, your friends, your family, whoever they are, that they feel heard, they feel supported
Yeah.
and empowered to do their best work. I like to feel that I set clear expectations, but also give my team, my staff, the autonomy to deliver whatever is being asked of them in their own way.
Mm.
Um, and for me, leadership is building that trust, leading by example, and creating that culture where staff, patients feel valued. And I think that's when you get the best out of people, when you create that safe environment for them, not just to thrive, but also that safe environment for them to fail. And I don't think failure is always necessarily negative. It's an ability for people to reflect, to learn, and to grow, and will become an even better leader themselves as a result.
Yeah, amazing. Natasha, so what could be the challenges? What challenges do you face that you need to reframe?
I think the biggest challenges for me right now is trying to balance the demands of a hugely challenging yet rewarding job role. Um, I've got a lot of responsibility. I've got a lot of pressure to deliver. Not only in my career, but I'm a new mum. I have a 7-month-old son, so I've got responsibilities there. I'm also a wife. So just making sure that I can give the best of myself at work and at home. And I think that is going to take some very careful prioritization and focus. But I think my biggest challenge now is to make sure that I am able to deliver on exactly what has been set out and what has been promised to our clinicians, our patients. We've spoken really highly of Welbeck, and it's a really exciting hospital centre that's been brought to Cambridge. And I think patients and people have got high expectations of what it is that we're going to bring. So I'm just my biggest challenge is making sure that I can meet the expectations of all of those people who are relying on me to deliver.
Natasha, congratulations. And I think it's often
Thank you.
like this in life. Things come together. They don't come one after another. They often come
That's it. All
together.
comes at once.
So, yeah, it's quite something. Natasha, so what would you say are you most proud of to date?
I would say I'm most proud of probably my career journey to date. I think there is often a very challenging stigma associated with gender and age, especially in healthcare leadership. And I think that I have hopefully proved through determination, my vision, and collaborative working that I've overcome those barriers. Um, I've had the privilege of creating a service that not only clinicians at Welbeck London are extremely proud to be a part of, and but patients really enjoy coming to. So I think seeing the impact of the work that I put in back 4 or 5 years ago when I initially set up One Welbeck Lung Health, which is where my career started, that is probably the most rewarding thing I've done to date. I I built my own team. I shaped the culture that they live and breathe every day, and hopefully I delivered an experience that truly set the standards in the new healthcare market. And I'm really, really excited to take that to an even bigger scale. So to date, that is probably my biggest achievement. And in the future, if am able to pull off Welbeck Cambridge, as I did with One Welbeck Lung Health, that would also be a great achievement. And I also plan to take this experience into my future approach of recruitment. And I think my biggest proudest moment today is making sure that everything I've learned over the last 5 years, taking it forward, and investing into people and seeing that person beyond the CV. Someone took a chance on me. I wasn't the eldest. I didn't have the most experience, and I was also female. So it's just looking beyond what's written on that CV, and I want to give people a chance. And I just really think that we need to nurture talent, see the potential in people to make sure that we do build the most strongest, passionate teams that we can.
Amazing, Natasha. So, what are your immediate plans and goals? Tell us a little bit when are you gonna open? What does this look like? What are your plans and goals both for Welbeck and potentially also for you personally?
Yeah, so that's the million-dollar question. I've been asked that a lot over the last few weeks. When is this going to open? And I think everybody can appreciate that huge construction projects take time.
Yeah,
There's often
yeah.
delays, supplies, demands, you name it. We're aiming to open this late spring 2026. So we've not got long, 9 months. So the long-term plan is to build a sustainable, high-performing team and service, to set the new standards for patient care. I want to continue to create an environment where clinicians feel empowered, supported, and really proud to be a part of something that is meaningful, while ensuring that our patients receive an exceptional, personalised experience at Welbeck Cambridge. I aim to be able to offer patients a centre where they can come and have a one-stop shop experience, that they can come in, be listened to, have their investigations, have the outcome of those investigations all at the same time. So that's the goal for Welbeck Cambridge. But on a personal level, I will aim to keep challenging myself. I aim to continue to grow as a leader. I will continue to develop my skills. I still don't think I'm a perfect leader. I think everybody can still continue to grow, and ensure that I still learn from every single experience that I put myself through. I'm really passionate about mentoring and nurturing talent, taking chances on potential people, and investing in people to give them the ability to thrive. And as I said before, that's what happened to me, and that's what I will continue to do. And I also hope that I'm an inspiration, not just to my son, but to my husband as well, and to the teams that I've previously worked with and the people that I will work with in the future. And I think through demonstration, what can be achieved through dedication, resilience, and leading with purpose. Over the next few years, I really want to combine all of my experience to scale our high quality healthcare service and hopefully leave a lasting impact on everybody that I speak to, whether that be like a consultant, our patients, my friends, my family. So I guess that's my short, medium, and long-term goal.
I love it, Natasha. I love you have it all mapped out. You're holding this big vision and you're working towards this. It's very impressive. So, what takeaways would you like our listeners to have from your story?
Key takeaways. So, persistence and resilience will always pay off. I think determination can break down those barriers, whether that's related to gender, whether that's related to age, race, experience. Investing in people and taking a chance on that candidate, that employee. And I think taking those chances gives us the potential to really build high performing, empowered teams. Saying yes, stepping out of your comfort zone is where the true growth happens. Leading with a purpose, and I think leading with that purpose, I think will really inspire people around you. And every experience, challenge, and success shapes long-term growth. And I think it then equips you to make a greater impact, but not just in your work, but in your future as well.
Natasha, what a great way to finish. Thank you so much for your time, for leading so powerfully by example. And I would love to get every listener here to think, how are you leading by example? How are you showing up? What do you stand for? And what advice would possibly be helping you at your point in your career or life journey?